Okay, hi. So this is going to be part two of my prop project, and this is my finished product project. I'm pretty happy with it. It's not exactly like my normal kind of image. It's a little brighter, a little cheerier than what what I normally do, but I like it. I like the way it turned out. So let me just quickly go through what I did, and uh, hopefully pick up pretty much from where I started last time. So this is my finished project. I'm going to go ahead and turn these off and start with my background. This is very organized. I hope you see. I even have colors and things on my stuff. Photoshop has a lot of ways to organize. I usually do group things, and that's always a very handy thing to do just to keep you knowing where you're at. Sometimes you still get messed up, and you'll see I have a couple places here. I'm like, I don't know what I did there. But for the most part, it's really good, and it helps with especially being able to explain to you guys what I've done. So this was my original picture here. As I explained, I needed to change the background for my new model, my new photo of my model. And so I needed a brighter background. I needed something with the correct perspective. This one has an image that I thought was very similar to my model. The light was coming from the right direction. It was a good brightness. I thought it would match. And so the first thing that I needed to do was clone out these two people here, because they're not going to be part of the image, obviously. And it's really nice with sky, ocean, water, sand, grass. A lot of times it's very easy to clone out things from this type of a background. And I knew that that would be simple. So I went for it. And I cloned them out. I did keep this little foot here only to kind of guide me where I wanted to put my model. And so I kind of tried to put her in a very similar position. I knew that I was going to use the splashes from my original people right here. I was going to use the splashes from the baby around this foot and the base of this foot right here for the base of her foot. Even though they're pointed in different directions, I knew that I could do that. I was also going to use this image right here of his reflection to be a part of her reflection. And, oh, it's the ice cream truck. I don't know if you can hear that or not. Yeah, summertime. It's sure sign of spring. So I cloned him and the baby out. And then I did a little bit of extra cloning. Now, I always clone on a blank layer. And anything CS6 and above, you can clone on a blank layer, I think. Can't remember if CS6 you can, but anything above that you can. And so I went ahead and I cloned, moved the reflection over. This I'm going to talk about cloning the water and legs, and then I did clone new shadows. So let me go ahead and just let you know how I did that. Because one of the things I liked about my original picture was the shadow that was over here. So I simply added a new layer and took my clone stamp, S for the clone stamp, hold Option to clone, and I took images. I knew I wanted it somewhere over here, so I just cloned in those areas and put it like right here, and took some more and added it up here, and took some more and filled it in. And it's fairly tedious, but I kind of knew where I wanted to go with it. So let's say we had it here. And then I was going to use this part down here. And I did it very carefully and took a lot of time, which I'm not doing here. And let's see here. And you kind of get the idea of what I was doing. Okay, and just make something that kind of looks like what you think this shadow might be. And then I took the clone stamp again, and on the same layer, I just did the same layer. I cloned out very carefully so that you're not getting a lot of repeats, but I cloned out the old shadow. So maybe add that in there. And like I said, when you're cloning water, it's so simple. It almost always looks good. It doesn't matter what you're doing, because who's to say what was originally there? So that's basically how I got my layer. And this is what I came up with. Okay, very simple. So that was the background and my model. I knew that I had to do a few adjustments. I made some adjustments to her, to the model. Originally, this was my model. So I did do a little bit of color correction, and I think in the last video I showed you how I used and I kept saying saturation. It was actually, this is a brightness layer. You can see that she is much darker than the background. So I went ahead and I corrected with the curves. And if you look at the curves, I brought the curves up so that in the midtones, so that she would match the background. I don't know why I kept saying saturation last time, but it was brightness. And that was pretty much it for my model layer. I did cut her out. If you double click on here, and then this was the original that I started with. You can see that her background is here. Cut her out of there, selected her. I made a selection, and I cut her out by adding a mask. You don't actually cut them out and move them over, because you're never going to be able to correct that later on if you need to. For instance, originally I had to, eventually in this image, I had to go back and make a couple of halo corrections, like around her hair and around here. And I did that on this mask because I still had the mask, all right? So that's kind of how that works. Let me close that. I'm not going to save it. And then I'll close this. This was my model. Okay, so I can take this off now that I have her kind of where I want her. And I'm still looking at a couple of things. I'm looking at the blacks here, and there's no real blacks in here. So I think at some point I did go ahead and change, maybe made a curves layer to, and I haven't been able to find it. I know it's in here somewhere because I found it in my stamp visible layer, but to make sure that she blends in a little bit more. For instance, I think that I would probably, from this layer, maybe make another curves adjustment layer, and then maybe take her whites down and her blacks up a little bit. And if I clip it, it'll only affect her. So if I take her shadows, the black points on her, and match them more to the black points here. There aren't any real black points in this background. So she would need to be lightened up a little bit like that. And maybe take make a slight S curve and give her a little more contrast, but still I've taken her black point up. You can see over here, this is where it would normally be. So if I wanted to make her darker, I would take it to the right. But if I want to make the blacks lighter, then you need to raise it up. And you can actually make it fairly matte looking at this point. I don't need to do that so far. So those are the adjustments that I would have made there. I added in the feet splashes from the original picture. So if you zoom in here, you can see this was the splash that was around the little girl, and this was the splash and the immersion of the man's foot. And you can really see that this is a foot over here. You'll also notice, which I didn't notice until the end of this, and I'll show you what I did, but the shadows are backwards because his feet were over here. I thought I could just flip the image, and I actually flipped it horizontally when I moved it because I thought this would match better here and this would match this part here. But I didn't realize, of course, I'm flipping the shadows at that point too, but I'll come back to that because I did fix it later. But at this point, I have pretty much everything that I need. So now what I did, I knew that I wanted this dispersion effect, and I am going to make another video just specifically to show you how to do that. It's kind of a cool effect. Again, it's nothing that you have to do. It's simply something that's fun, and I knew that I was going to use it in this image. And so I'll do another video and show you exactly how to do that. But I will go through it very quickly here just to show you what I did. So this is what I ended up with. And if I open that up and I turn everything off, the first thing you need to do is make a stamp visible layer, which I have here. Okay. And that is the, what is it? Shift Option Command E. I always have to look at it. And it makes a stamp visible layer. You'll make 2 more copies of that. Actually, I think I only made 1 copy of it because I knew I only needed a partial. And then you're going to erase or eliminate the part of the image that you want to have disperse and disappear. So in this case, I knew it was going to be the umbrella. So I cloned out and smoothed out that part of the umbrella. It was only going to be this part of it over here. I didn't need all of this. So this is going to be the effect where it's falling apart and you can see through it. Well, you need to be able to see through to something. If the umbrella was still there, you'd only see the umbrella. So this is the actual distortion layer. And if I come in here, take the mask off, this is the distortion which you do in Liquify. So that's kind of fun. That's like the fun part of this. And you just distort the item all the way to the point where your dispersion for your image is going to end. And that's this part here. And it's just done with Liquify. It's a lot of fun. And then you have your second layer, which is your subject layer. And that's going to be this layer right here. So it's basically your stamped visible layer, which is why you do 2 of them. This is the second one. And in this one, you're going to have the actual image that you're going to be using. Let me turn this off. This is part of that. And then you erase part of it and you see underneath it. So it, like I said, I'm going to go into this. The black and white masks are really important, and I'll do that on another video. Then I also knew I wanted to add in birds. So I simply made a copy, and I wanted them to be the same material kind of as the dispersion. So I wanted it to look like they were coming out of that dispersion. And so I simply copied this distortion layer and made another one, and then I added my birds to it, and that was just you can see my mask here. It's just they were actually bird brushes that I got from Brush Easy. I got the distortion brushes also, the pieces. You can see what they look like here. They this one, I think, I don't know if it's glass. I think it's just a distortion brush, and that's from Brush Easy also. You can use glass, broken glass brushes. You can use smoke brushes. That works really well with this. So pretty easy to find and download. It's not a problem. And that's pretty much it. Then I did do some finishing. So I always like to, when I have an image, and you can see it made a little bit of a difference there. I'm still kind of working on the finishing. I'm not really keen on, I like what I did. I don't know. It's a very different style than what I normally have. I usually have textures in my stuff, and this one doesn't so much. But in my finishing, I've tried several things, and I just left the layers in here so I could show you. I did try my paper texture, which I don't know if you can really see it here. It just, for me, kind of made it a little muddy, and it didn't add anything. I tried doing it in black and white, and that didn't work. I didn't like the colors. It just kind of muddied everything up. It didn't do what I wanted it to do. So I'm not going to use that. I tried, I did use hue and saturation. Did I do that? That's not even doing anything. I don't think I did anything with hue and saturation. I did try using, getting a vignette, which I do kind of like now that I see it. Maybe not. I feel like I'm losing a little bit of detail in here, so I might do something with that. But I'm kind of liking it without that. So just trying different things to pull the image together. What I ended up using were a couple of color lookup tables, which are just a really quick, easy, one-click way to color tone your images. And I really feel that some kind of global adjustment needs to be done at the end of your image, just to pull your pieces together, especially for composited images, but even for other images. I just think that it's a nice touch, and it can be something, type of color toning that really makes it yours, defines your style, things like that. And I added some teal in with the color lookup. So this is before. So I brightened it up with one of the lookups, and I think I just used a cooling lookup, kind of a cooling thing. And then I added some teal in. Now you can also, you could do this with a lot of different things. You could use photo filters, which would be maybe under channel mixers or photo filters. Those are kind of fun. You can do like a warming photo filter. Let's see if we use, let's look at the violet. That kind of does some cool stuff to it. And then you can use it in, you can change the blend mode. It's here. This is the photo filter here. You could change I do kind of like that. I like that purple on there. It's a little strong, so maybe take the opacity down. It's kind of cool. It's 59, 60%. You could also change the blend mode. Let's take it all the way up, and maybe you could change it to luminosity, which is kind of nice. You could change it to color, which I think is pretty. Saturation, hue would make quite a difference with it, but I kind of liked it normal. And then just take the opacity down a little bit. So that's kind of pretty. So anyway, there's a lot of different things that you can do, but I do feel it's very important to color tone. And I think maybe I'll do a different video just specifically about the different ways that you can color tone your images. It just gives a nice finish at the end. I did try also, I wanted to mention, I tried green, adding green, which here I do have it on, but I kind of like it better without it. I don't know. Can't decide on that one. I think I'm going to go without. Adding it made it a little darker overall, but I think I kind of like the brightness of it, and I might as well just go with the brightness. So that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, you can always email me. Or again, I think everybody's now on our Facebook page, which is really nice. I hope you have time to participate. I'm always posting things to it that I find that look like fun on the web. And we've got a couple of discussions going. If you want to post what you've done online, you can post them on our Facebook page, and we can do little critiques, or it's just fun to see everybody's work. And I think that's an important part of our class. So I want to continue doing that. And that's it. I will talk to you guys later. Bye.